My name is Dr. Maurice de Beer. I will present to you in this module. It is module SG2, Surfacing Seal Selection. The background documents are shown here. The module is SG2, Online Training Module, and the title is Surface Seal Selection. The prerequisites are that the online modules SG1A, SG1B, and SG1C was already done by the learner. The link below is the reference towards the sealing technology guidelines. The learning outcomes, we expect the learner to understand the use of surfacing seals on road pavements to protect it in order to get climate resilient pavements and address climate change by having a sealed pavement compared to an unsealed pavement. It's better to have a sealed pavement when there's a lot of rain, like in Rwanda, and therefore we want to seal the roads to move into the climate resiliency domain of infrastructure. Second point is understanding the functions and risk associated with best practice. There's reference to the seal types, and there's also the last outcome that we expect is that a selection of initial surfacing seal of a new road pavement that the learner can have an idea on how that is done. Indicative content is just a summary slide showing volume 1, which actually deals with up to this module that is presented today. In addition to this module, there are the literature which can be downloaded from the previous link. It is volume 2, A, B, C, D, E, and F, and G, up to quality control. So let's continue then with the first volume in order to complete that under SG2. So the most common surface treatment types that we dealt before was given in this slide, the seal code and its description. So every seal type has got a code. For example, graded aggregate seal with a single application of aggregate less than 10 millimeter is, the code is S3 brackets S smaller than 10 millimeter brackets. And so we can go down the list. S3 is graded aggregate seals, that group. S7, smaller and larger than 10 millimeter, is the microsurfacing or slurry seals, or coarse slurry seals, because this one is larger than 10. And then we've got the S single seal group from 7 millimeter, 10, 14, 20 millimeter is the single seals. And then we move into the double seal group, which is S2, 10 and S2, 14. And then S4 is then moving into the famous Cape seals. In this case, the 10 millimeter aggregate with one layer of slurry as the S410. In the next slide, here one table continues with the slurries S414, S420. So those are three categories of the slurry, including the previous table. Then we move on to the famous double seals, a 14.7 millimeter, a 14.5 millimeter, a 20.10 millimeter, and a 27 is all the double seals that can be selected depending on your aggregate type, your aggregate sizes, and what type of aggregates you've got. Then we've got what we call a triple seal or a double seal with two extra layers of 7 millimeters. So a 27.7. S2 is a double seal with maximum 20 aggregate, a 7 millimeter layer, and another 7 millimeter layer, which is normally needed if there are still open spaces on your seal and you need to close that up to prevent moisture going into your pavement, which is then actually an investment for the future, that you you protect your pavement getting wet, that the base layer is getting wet, and there will then start potholes and cracking, etc., etc. The slurry bound macadams is the actually S5, S6 and S7, it's not in the table, and S8. They are all different slurry bound macadam seals. It's called macadam since the aggregate size is on the high side. Traditionally they call it macadam, but we also have the fine grading and the coarse grading. The S5 fine grading is less than 5 millimeters. The coarse grading is less than 10 millimeters. It's all combined under the code S7 with microsurfacings. And lastly in the table is the asphalt layer, which is the hot mix asphalt surfacing or premix that is can also be used for the pavement surfacing, but it is much more costly than these seals in the table. This slide we've seen before, the effect of traffic and environment on performance of low volume roads. Here we've got the road capacity or the strength of the road. The stronger the road pavement, for the higher traffic, the less the effect of the environment is. So it's important to understand here then that we've got the contribution here of traffic and environment against traffic. So when the traffic increases, we need a stronger pavement. A stronger pavement means that you will have less effect of the environment on that pavement. With the climatic changes in Rwanda, temperature and humidity, the climate change impact might cause this green line to move up a bit. But in general, all the low volume roads less than 1 million is very important. The environment plays a critical role on these pavements. So climate is very important for these pavements in this class, less than 1 million. So that is the interaction between traffic and environment conceptually given in this slide. Now, for any road starts off with a track that is already there, made by people, mostly non-motorized traffic, and it's on natural soil, it's non-engineered. Now typically for feeder roads, you move up the scale, you engineer the natural soil and provide a platform for a road that is wider than the track. That can be upgraded to a minor gravel road. And if there's enough money, that can go up to a major gravel road, depending on the economy and the need. And eventually we can end up with a sealed road, which is the best investment against the climate change and climate resilient technology that we are trying to get into Rwanda, that the economy will not suffer and we need to protect the infrastructure. So therefore the sealed road is at the top. Obviously, it's much more expensive than just a major gravel road. But with a lot of rain, major gravel roads, you can lose that as well as all of the rest. In this module, SG2, we provide the learners to make a selection of seal type for mandatory conditions. What are these conditions? These include an estimation or estimated traffic volume, how much traffic you expect, what is the actual road gradient or slope, what is the maintenance capability of the road owner and the national districts, are there turning actions of especially large vehicles, what type of equipment, experience and work method to be used and applied, and then what is the minimum macro texture you require for the final seal. So for a seal selection, you need to understand that there are 6 fundamental important inputs into the way one can design surface seals or surface dressings. Now, the seal selection graph that I'm showing to you here, or the table, it looks more aggressive than what it really is. In essence, this is dealing with the traffic volume, the very first element in one of the 6, and equivalent light vehicle units. So for different traffic volumes, you've got different options of seals. Here you've got the seal S3 right through to S8 and even asphalt. So to interpret this table, and we will have 6 of them, is to look at the colors, look at the factor that we want to design for. In this case, number 1 is traffic volume in equivalent light vehicles per lane per day. The red color means there is no option available if the traffic is very high for several seal types. Red means not recommended. Green is yes, the seal is suitable. So here you can see if the traffic is less than 750 and you want to do a S3 graded seal, you can do a S3. 3 of them are possibilities because the traffic is low, S7, and then the double seals can be done, slurries can be done, and so forth. The yellow is in between. Yellow is sort of good performance noted in several cases. Modified binders and trials reduce the risk in these situations. The typical problems expected are bleeding and loss of skid resistance. This is the yellow areas here. Or it can mean and be sensitive to permeability on coarse-based textures due to first 7 applied without a binder. The importance is that B, especially in Rwanda, where you've got Bs, this one is not recommended. Actually in Rwanda, for whatever traffic reason there is. So to make a seal selection based on traffic volume, first you have to count the traffic, and we addressed it before. You get the traffic volume and you express the number of vehicles as 1 light vehicle equals 40 heavy vehicles, or 40 heavy vehicles equals 1 light vehicle, in order to get to that number over there, the equivalent light vehicle volume per lane per day. Let's take an example. Say the traffic is 750 to 2000, your ELV, and you wanted to know if a double seal will do the work. You can see all the options available for that traffic if you go across the table. S7 is okay. S7 larger than 10, it's a slurry. And then a double seal. A double seal, another double seal, 14.5, a 10.5, 14.5, 14.5, 10, 14.7, S4, 10, and so forth. So all these, basically all these seal types from there are adequate for this category or volume of traffic. In extreme traffic cases, there's only limited options available which can be used as an initial surfacing on the gravel pavement. So in summary then, this type of table shows what can be used where for a specific factor that is in this column over there. Let's go to the next one. This is a road gradient. Similar concept. Road gradient. If the road is relatively flat, most of the seal types can be used. It's mostly green and a little bit of yellow with H over there. and the legend is given at the bottom. H is saying it's not suitable for urban drainage systems because the subsurface stormwater systems are present. So you don't need that type of seal on flat areas. The red is obviously you can't use any option, it's not recommended. Any option in red is therefore not recommended. So say for road, if the road gradient is between 8 and say 6 to 8 on the borderline, one can see that there are risks involved for 6 to 8 for all seal types. E and F shows if it is an urban environment, you cannot use it. If it is in a rural environment, you can use, say, a S410, a S414, and a S420. You have to think where this road is, what is the gradient, and what are the effects. Green basically means yes, red is no, and yellow is in between with the descriptors at the bottom. C in this case, so you don't use that type of seal, this one where you've got C's, and also there, not on a stabilized base course, if the stabilized base course has got a fine material. Very important to read the descriptors here of the legend. So road gradient, basically flat areas, most of the seals, and we do not recommend seals at all for higher than 8. So that is actually a good rule of thumb, that we do not go beyond 8 degrees of the road gradient for surfacing seals. There are too many warning signs in that category, higher than 8. At the end, one can use slurries, but then you have to have a good mix, consistency, and good control over the surfacing that you apply on. Obviously, you can also pave that steep gradient given in the last column over there, and nothing over 16 will do except for the two slurries, the 14 and the 20, the Cape seals might, but we recommend maximum 8% to go for in terms of road gradient. Let's move on to the next factor, which is maintenance capability of the district or the municipality or the city where you are living or the area where you are living. The question is, what is the capability of the road authority? What is the maintenance capability? If the maintenance capability is weak, nothing, then you can't use most of the seals cannot be used, except a slurry or an asphalt. If the maintenance capacity is very good, very high, can perform any type of maintenance whenever needed, most of the seals can work if the maintenance capability is there. If the maintenance capability is medium, some of the options are red and therefore not recommended. Yellow, we have to think about where the road is. So this is a guide on the maintenance capability, and if you really got a good maintenance system, you can use any of the seal types, including asphalt. The legend, as before, given here below. Green is yes, X is not recommended. In this case, J is rural areas only. J, that's the double seals. And then K, the performance of surfaces is sensitive to the design and construction problem. So if you've got not a good contractor, then you should not go for these options marked with a K. Let's move on to the next one, which is turning actions. Question is, are there turning actions of heavy vehicles? Are the actions in the rural area with occasional heavy vehicles? Again, most of the seal types can be used. It's just occasional. If it is urban with very heavy traffic, and it's urban, meaning a lot of turning actions, then most of the seals will not work. Maybe a slurry, and definitely asphalt will work, as it is currently in Kigali. So we've got one in-between case. This is M. If you blind with coarse sand in residential areas, you can use the single seal 10 and 14, but you must blind with coarse sand. Otherwise the texture will be too high for these two types of sealing options. So yeah, to summarize this one, the suitability of surfacing types for initial surfacing, where you've got occasional heavy vehicles and it's rural, most of the seal types will work well, if constructed well. Moving on to equipment, experience and work method. Do you have an experienced contractor or not? It's indicated here. If you've got an experienced contractor, most of the seals from the double seals right down to the Cape seals can work, with exceptions here, quite a number of exceptions. N means too risk for one binder application. It's too risky, not too high risk. The color is also red, but remember we've got an N, a X and an N in there. But basically all the red areas, as before, that seal type cannot be used where the equipment and experience and work method, even with an experienced contractor, we do not recommend to select the seal types in red, marked in red, but only those in green and possibly those in yellow or in like an orange. In this case, W means only for very low volume roads where the risk level is medium to high, needs to be interpreted that way. Then there's the next one, is what minimum macro texture do you need or require? Everything, so your texture is given here in millimeters, less than 0.7 of a millimeter. That's not much, it's a very, very little. You can use any of the seals. If you want a real coarse structure, a macro texture which is higher than 2, be careful for certain types of seals. The S1, single seal 14 and single seal 20 is good choices, or the double seal 2010. That is if you want a coarse texture. Most of the textures that we've got and built is in the top 3 over here, and the selection is relatively easy to be made. Again on the legend, yes, the green is always yes, and the red is not recommended. And then we've got exceptions, R. That one, if you want that texture, R for an S3 graded seal. It all depends on the aggregate grading. So that needs a little bit of experimentation or piloting to see if that seal will work. Can it be constructed, and will you get the texture that you need? S is not if to fine grading, I think there's only one. If the grading is too fine for the S7 slurry, then that the S7 is not recommended. U is obviously asphalt can be used. So again, same as before, the green choices for seal suitability of seals can be used, and you go across the table in a horizontal mode, and the legend explains to you to inform you on the choices of seal. Now it's very important to understand the visual assessment of surfacings on existing old sealed roads. This table is for existing roads. The previous tables are mainly for initial selection. I included this table just because it's important to understand the impact of visual assessment of surfacings. So, what is the basic function of a surfacing? It is to prevent ingress of water, climate change, climate resiliency, to protect the base, granular base, from traffic wear, also from water, and then to provide skid resistance to the vehicles on it. So the basic functions of a surfacing is three elements. I will repeat: prevent ingress of water, it needs to protect the base from traffic wear and water, and it needs to provide skid resistance to the traffic. The typical distresses that one can see is porous surfacings. One of the main problems that we have on surfacings is that it is not constructed correctly and it's porous, and it will obviously lead to water going into the base. The cause of the distress in this type of surfacing is a dry binder or too little binder. And you can see dry binder, you can see voids, you can see stone loss, you can see poor surface drainage. If you see all of these elements visually, you can classify your existing seal as a porous surfacing. The next one is surfacing cracks, which also appear because of dry binder or premature cracking. You can see surface cracks and dry binder just by visually looking at it. Inspect it, and then classify. Structural cracks, meaning that it's either the pavement base is also cracking up, structural, the pavement structure is also failing. There are various mechanisms that can cause that, but you will see structural cracks, open cracks, active cracks, pumping fine material from the lower layers. Then on the surfacing distress, to protect the base from traffic wear, if there's loss of stone and raveling, you will have surface cracks, surface failures, surfacing cracks. Everything relatively shallow on that pavement. And then if it goes deeper, obviously the problem, if water gets in, potholes will happen because the binder is dry and there are structural cracks which are wide open, more than 1 millimeter. Dry binder and structural cracks will be the evidence to see that potholes are coming. Skid resistance, smooth surface texture. If the surface texture are getting too smooth, you will not be able to provide skid resistance. We also call it polishing, and we also can get rutting, which will impede on the skid resistance capability of your surfacing. So, smooth road surface is expressed in cause of distress is flushing and bleeding, and it is a smooth surface texture that on the eye you can see it, and you can also see with some investigation that there is some embedment of the aggregate of the seal into the base layer. Same with polishing. Tire abrasion, poor stone like dolomites are not very good. If it is a little bit weathered, it will polish, and there's a standard tests for polishing that can be made on the stone to see if one can get a good quality aggregate and to prevent polishing in order to give you skid resistance. If you see rutting on your sealing that you've done or on an existing pavement, it means that the base layer has got densification or shear failures due to water ingress. Major problem in most of our roads with thin surfacings, even with thin asphalts, is that there's failures in the base due to a water ingress, reducing the bearing capacity of the base layer, and it will end up in rutting. So visual assessment, one can set up a table like this for yourself and then walk the road and do the inspections and classify your surface distress into different classes to get a better engineering understanding of the mechanisms of the surfacing. Now, reseal solutions. In terms of resealing an existing pavement, there are flowcharts in this module for the maintenance option of existing sealed roads after the visual inspection. After the visual inspection, there are 8 charts, and we will go through chart by chart by chart to show you what and how, what information you can get for that. Like in chart 1, if there's rutting less than 10 and an existing texture is coarse to fine, then you follow that chart, flow chart, etc. Chart 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 on second level, from 4 and first level for the first 3. Let's jump into the first one. This is flowchart number 1 for first level visual inspection on sealed road maintenance. The rutting is less than 10. You measured it. You can physically quantify that the rutting is less than 10. And the texture is varying coarse to fine texture. So you've got rutting. The rutting is less than 10, not a lot of rutting. But the texture is varying to coarse. Do you have severe cracking? Yes or no? If you have severe cracking, you can skip the binder, the active aggregate loss, the cracking warning signs, the skid problems and the voids, and you can do a surface treatment of one of the surface treatments that we showed before, a single seal or a double seal or a triple seal or a slurry. So if there's severe cracking or pumping, go right through and do a texture treatment on that pavement, because the rutting is not so high. If there's no cracking or pumping, you in this block, then you ask the next question, is the binder dry? If the binder is dry and it's yes, you've got active crack loss, aggregate loss, sorry, and you've got warning cracking, yes, you can do texture treatment plus a single or double seal or with a conventional binder. Right. So this is the way we propose that you can use to increase your knowledge. If the severe cracking or pumping is no and the binder is not dry, it's still black and sticky, and then the next question you ask, is the active aggregate loss or not, yes or no, and depending on the condition, that will take you through to a solution. So it's basically setting up in a way which defines the problem and then the treatment that you can do for that problem depending on early conditions in your conditions that you see visually on the road and can be quantified, like rutting. The next chart 2 is the rutting is still less than 10. The font is a little bit small, but here you've got medium to coarse. Rut is less than 10 millimeter, medium to coarse. Again, you ask the question above, severe cracking, yes or no, binder dry, yes or no, aggregate loss, yes or no, warning cracking or surfacing failures or skid problems, yes or no, or voids, yes or no. And that will take you through from defining the problem, quantifying it, and get the treatment that you can do on this first level of visual inspection of a sealed road program. Going to the next one, flowchart 4, same principle, second level visual inspection on seal road. Rotting is high. Rotting is higher than 10. There's no texture problem, but there are cracking. There could be cracking, yes or no. If there's cracking, you fill the rut, single or double seal, with a modified binder because you've got cracks. A modified binder is more flexible than a normal pen grade seal, and that's why a modified binder is proposed. If there's not severe cracking, obviously we go this way. We skip the binder dryness or active aggregate loss. We can see warning crack signs, yes or no, and go on to the solution. If the rutting is high and there's no cracking, there's no warning cracking signs, there's no skid resistance, you only do a rut fill, indicated in the solution treatment column over here. Going to 5. This is now the use of diluted emulsions. Now, remember the definitions of all these acronyms are given in SG1A. It's also in the documents. But the diluted emulsion can be used. It is bitumen mixed with water, where you've got a 40-60 ratio between bitumen and water. It gives you an emulsion if you stir it, and then it can be used very effectively in the urban environment as well as in the rural environment. The reason why it's diluted is that it will go from the top of the seal through the aggregate to possibly the top of the gravel base layer. If the condition that you want to treat the environment is in an urban environment, you've got low traffic, you've got a flat gradient, you just use a dilute anionic stable grade emulsion, diluted emulsion. That is the treatment there. If you're in a rural area, you've got high traffic, medium to high traffic volume, and it is steep, too risky. Do not use diluted emulsion. It is too risky. Too risky. So again, same principle. You've got a condition, or you've got a solution that you think is going to help on certain action in certain areas, environment, your traffic, your actions of your traffic and your gradient. You can get to a solution over here by using diluted emulsion to improve the permeability and decrease the sensitivity to water of surfacing seals in these environments. Number 6, you want to do texture treatment. If you're in the urban environment, you can follow by looking at the environment. You're urban, you've got a low traffic volume, there are traffic actions, the gradient is flat, pre-coated grit seal or slurry, preferable. A very good solution for that type of environment. Texture treatment in the rural, if you've got low traffic, you can just, and you've got steep, you just use a slurry. Steep gradient, you just use a slurry. If it's flat and gentle, a grit seal or slurry. If the traffic is high in the rural environment and you want to do texture treatment in a rural environment, medium-high traffic, steep slope, it's better to use asphalt. Stay away from surface treatments. It will not work there. If it is flat, you can use slurry or thin microsurfacing in order to get your surface texture corrected from a smooth surface to a textured surface. That is chart number 6. Chart number 7, it is when When do you need a stone seal or a chip seal? It's the same as surfacing seals that we are dealing with in this module. Again, your environment is either urban or rural. Your traffic volume can be low or high or medium. Traffic actions, meaning trucks running in and out, intersections. It can be high or low, and the gradient of your road area can be flat or very high, as indicated here. So there are some notes that one can read on your own time. Note 1, you can use this surfacing seal for modified binders, stone seals. All binders must be modified binders, obviously. You have to understand the concept of modified binders, which is in one of the appendices, if I'm correct. If diluted emulsion is suggested before a stone seal or modified stone seal, then recommend to spray a diluted anionic stable grade emulsion before the reseal is done. So diluted emulsion is very effective before you do the final surface stone seal on your pavement. Note 3, suitable asphalt is expensive, but always an appropriate alternative. There's always the alternative to use asphalt, but normally it's much more expensive than the seals. Let's do one example here. You want to do a surface dressing in a rural area where the traffic volume is medium to high. The traffic actions is medium. The slope is gentle to steep, double or cape seal with modified hot binders. When it is flat, you can do a double cape seal with modified emulsion or hot modified binders. Actually the same solution for those two. If it is a very high traffic actions, it's better to use asphalt. In an urban environment, one can say, okay, if the traffic volume is very high, you go directly to asphalt. The same in the urban environment, if traffic is low, but there are high turning actions, it's better to go for asphalt. Like at an intersection, it's better to go for asphalt. If the traffic actions are medium and you are on the flat area or even gentle to steep, a cape seal with modified binder will do. In the case of the steep gradient, we need a hot modified binder in there, and there we just need the normal modified binder for that case. So that is for stone seal or surface seal on second level selection, meaning a road that's got an existing seal on top of it. This is the last flow chart. If you want texture and stone seal, the same principle. You go through the arrows, you go through your environment, your traffic volume, traffic actions and gradient, and here in the last column you've got the minimum treatment, comments, what can be done and what are the solution. In the rural areas for texture and stone seals, rural areas, medium to high traffic, very high traffic, better to go for asphalt. If the traffic volume is high but the turning actions are low and you're in a flat area, texture slurry plus 40 mm double seal with an emulsion or hot binder. If it is a gentle steep to steep slope, texture slurry with 14 mm or double seal with hot modified binder. Note 3. Those two, again, the same solution. So different solutions for different conditions by following the arrows. If that is what you want to do, the visual inspection indicated you need texture and you need a stone seal. Here are the description of surfacing seals in terms of relative costs. Relative costs. So we've got the relative cost of the single seal, textured seals, double seals, cape seals. The cost ratio is the indicator for relative cost, where we say, okay, a single seal of 14 millimeter or 13 millimeter pre-coated chip with penetration grade bitumen has got a value of 1. Then we compare all the other options, which is in the manual and also in this table. If you want to add a fog spray, the cost will go up by 11. It becomes from 1, it's 1.11 if you add a fog spray. If you add sand, and it is just an emulsion of 65% emulsion, it's 1.52 times the top one, penetration grade bitumen of 13 millimeter pre-coated chips. So what you can see from this table, it is ranging from 1 or 0.92 actually is the cheapest, is the 9.5 millimeter pre-coated chip. Depending on the conditions in Rwanda, this table might change, but this is a first off the cuff indication of cost that one can then make on a relative cost basis. The highest one here, if I'm correct, is 2.1, is rapid setting slurry. It's by twice. If you want textured seal, rapid setting coarse slurry, 10 millimeter slurry with cement in it, it's about twice the solution of a single seal using penetration grade over there. So here's a fine slurry, it's only 0.87. That is really the cheapest, I think, in the lot. No, 0.69, 0.73, 0.63 penetration grade bitumen. Sand seals are the cheapest. You can see that they're all less than 1. Less than 1, even the coarse slurry is 1.32. 2.1 is 2.3 is the highest. Why? Because it is bitumen rubber. Bitumen rubber, very good solution, very flexible, good resistance to water and traffic stresses. So a double seal 19 plus 95 bitumen rubber is your most expensive seal type using this table. And so you can compare then all the different binder types with the seal that you've got, the seal type, and then if it's pre-coated or not pre-coated, one can then make a selection based on this. With time, if one keep track of the costs in Rwanda, one can revise this table and see what types of seals are doing the job, a single seal, a textured seal, a double seal or a cape seal, and what is best for Rwanda. I know that there was the paper that we referenced in module SG1A, where the researcher did some bitumen rubber test at the one of the Rwanda Polytechnique, I think, and he used rubber on diorites, which is a good aggregate that is available in Rwanda. But rubber is always a very good option, provided you can build it. The contractor is trained to use bitumen rubber and all the details that comes with treating seals and emulsions and binders in the field. Okay, then we down to a quiz. 6 questions that you can try to answer. If I want you to answer it, the question is, determine if this seal type, double seal 14-7, is suitable for the following rural road conditions. You've got the traffic volume as 2,000 equivalent light vehicles per lane per day. The gradient is 8%. Are you going to use it, yes or no? What is the maintenance capability? What is the turning actions? What is the equipment quality and work method? And what is the minimum texture that you want? In a nutshell, trying to test the knowledge of this section. And there is the answers of the quiz at the end. Then we've got a second quiz. What is the relative cost? The table that we just discussed. You can go through that yourself and try and answer that. The answers are given in the next slide, just to show if you can get an appreciation of relative cost. Then there's a third quiz. What treatment is needed when the first level visual inspection of the sealed road shows the following? First level visual inspection of sealed road maintenance. What is the rutting? We say the rutting is less than 10. Varying coarse to fine texture. So now you're on those flow charts. Secondly, well, texture, and then there are severe cracking or pumping. That's the first question. Second one is if the rutting is varying coarse to fine texture, but no severe cracking or pumping, only warning signs. But the binder is dry with aggregate loss from the seal. Then we go on to the next slide, which is the slide giving the answers for the two questions that you can test yourself. Okay, that brings me to the end of the SG2 module. I want to thank again the South African Bitumen Association, SABITA, for letting us using their information in Manual 40, which was mainly by Mr. Gerrie van Zyl. He's the original author of Manual 40, and with compliments to him and thanks to him for allowing us to use the information that he gathered over the years. And that brings me to the next slide. Thank you. That is the end. Marakuze. Bye-bye.